The night air was still when a ghost started banging on my door. Our first kiss, a woman's voice called out, frantic. I kissed you first, remember? I held my daughter, Sophie, tighter, my eyes glued to the shuddering door. My heart was a frantic drum against my ribs. The pin for our joint savings is 1-5-7-2-1-1. There's over 80 grand in there, everything we saved up. Just minutes ago, this woman, impossibly beautiful, looking like she'd stepped off a red carpet, had knocked and claimed to be my wife, Chloe. My wife who had died in a car crash 6 months ago. Sophie and I were starting to piece our lives back together. And now this. What a waste of a pretty face. Ethan, the woman knew my name. Her voice was getting hoarse. And you have a mole on your ass. The one those 3 girls saw in 3rd grade when they pulled your pants down because you were defending me. My blood ran cold. Every secret, every private memory Chloe and I shared, this stranger was shouting it into the hallway for the whole building to hear. I was floored. In that moment of sheer, bewildering panic, a crazy thought took root. Maybe the woman outside really was my dead wife. I couldn't let her keep going. Click. I opened the door and let the madwoman in. She swept past me, kicking her designer heels off by the entryway with a familiarity that made my head spin and rush straight for my daughter. Sophie, sweetie, it's Mommy. Sophie, only 3, burst into tears at being scooped up by a stranger. Shush, baby, don't cry, it's Mommy, I promise. The woman bounced her gently. A rocking motion so perfectly identical to Chloe's it sent a shiver down my spine. I stare, my voice a croak. Who are you? Are you trying to kill me? She snapped, her delicate eyebrows arching in a way that was pure, undiluted Chloe. The scolding tone was the same one she'd used on me 1,000 times. Leaving me out there forever? My hands are sore from knocking, and my throat is raw. She grumbled to herself, then pointed to the cabinet next to the fridge. Get her a juice box. She always stops crying when she has her juice. She paused. And grab me an orange juice while you're at it. My shock deepened. The cabinet was our designated snack and drink hoard. How did she know? And she knew about Sophie's juice box trick. Even her preference for orange juice was the same as Chloe's. I moved on autopilot, grabbing a juice box, poking the straw in, and handing it to Sophie, who immediately quieted down, her big, teary eyes fixed on the woman holding her. I twisted the cap off an orange juice and passed it to the stranger, finally taking a good look at her. She wore a stunning red dress, with delicate earrings dangling from her lobes. Her skin was flawless, her makeup subtle, and a cascade of wavy dark hair spilled down her back. She was movie star gorgeous, but the way she drank the orange juice was anything but glamorous. She tilted her head back and chugged it, a rough, unladylike gesture that was completely at odds with her elegant appearance, but perfectly in sync with the way Chloe used to relax at home. Wait a second. Something clicked. I snatched my phone, frantically scrolling through Instagram until I found it. A photo of a striking woman, radiating an icy, unapproachable glamour. Her name was Isabella Thorne, heiress to a finance fortune, occasional actress, a darling of the New York social scene. They called her the Park Avenue Princess. I held the phone up, comparing the photo to the woman in front of me. The same refined features, the high-bridged nose, the slightly upturned lips. They were identical. What are you looking at? She asked, putting down the empty bottle. She patted over, barefoot, and peered at my phone screen. Who's that? She looks familiar. I met her eyes. Is there any chance that she's you? Oh, right. Her face lit up with dawning recognition. She touched her own chin, a look of smug satisfaction on her face. That is me. Wow, I'm really beautiful. She didn't recognize her own face? I had no idea how to respond. This place is a mess, she declared, her eyes scanning the cluttered living room before landing on me with disapproval. And look at you. You haven't shaved. Your hair looks like a bird's nest. She reached out and ruffled my hair, a gesture both foreign and achingly familiar. I found myself answering her as if she were Chloe. After you were gone, I had to quit my job at the tech firm to take care of Sophie. I started my own consulting business from home. It's been busy. I haven't had time to clean. Before I could finish, her face crumpled. She threw herself into my arms, her body shaking with sobs. Oh, Ethan, I'm so sorry. You've been raising her all by yourself, being her mom and her dad. It's all my fault. It was raining so hard that day, I didn't see the intersection right. In that car. Her words dissolved into heartbroken wails. The more she spoke, the more my world tilted on its axis. I pulled back slightly, my voice trembling. Are you really Chloe? It's me, she sobbed, looking up at me. I'm Chloe. I'm your wife. Chloe and I had grown up together in the same group home. We had a universe of shared memories. I had to be sure. If you're Chloe, then what was the name of the director of our home? She wiped a tear from her cheek. Her last name was Peterson. Mrs. Peterson. We all called her Mama P. Oh God, it was real. She continued, her voice gaining strength. And there were those 3 older girls who always picked on me, and you got in a fight with them to protect me, and they pulled your pants down. Okay, stop. I clamped my hand over her mouth, glancing at our daughter. Sophie's right here. Let's not. Her eyes, peering over my hand, were full of hope. Do you believe me now? That I'm your wife? I nodded slowly, my own eyes filling with tears. It was insane, impossible, but my gut, my heart, every fiber of my being screamed that she was telling the truth. Or rather, Chloe was inside her. I can't believe it, I whispered. You actually came back. I reached out to touch her face, but paused. This face was so perfect, so porcelain, it felt like it might break. My hand hovered in the air, but looking into her eyes, I saw her. My Chloe was in there. Chloe, I choked out. I missed you so much. The tears I've been holding back for 6 months finally broke free. We were both orphans. We were each other's entire world. If it hadn't been for Sophie, I don't think I would have survived losing her. Don't cry, she whispered, wiping my tears away like she was comforting a child. I'm back. I'm back now. I nodded, unable to speak, and pulled her into a desperate hug. In that moment, I didn't care who this woman was supposed to be. To me, she was Chloe. We clung to each other until a small voice broke the spell. Daddy, hug, Sophie said, toddling over. We separated, and I scooped her up, placing her between us. Say mommy, Sophie. This is your mommy. Mama. Chloe's face lit up. Yes, sweetie. Come to Mama. Let Mama hold you. Seeing my daughter in her mother's arms again, a fresh wave of tears streamed down my face. Little kids get tired early. After a while of being held and played with, Sophie started yawning. My reborn wife expertly rocked her, humming a low, familiar tune, a wordless lullaby that had always been their secret spell. Soon, Sophie was asleep. After laying her gently in her toddler bed, Chloe stood up and stretched. Wow, this body. It's different not having given birth. How so? I asked. She twisted from side to side, thinking, I feel like I have so much more energy. Holding Sophie for a while didn't even tire me out. My old body. After Sophie, it felt like it just fell apart. I'd be exhausted after 5 minutes. I shrugged. She's probably younger than you were. Chloe's mouth formed a pout. Are you calling me old? I hesitated, then decided on the truth. Well, she looks at least 3 or 4 years younger. Oomph, she snorted, rolling her eyes. I just got back. I don't want to fight with you. Her gaze fell on my stubbled chin. Look at yourself. I'm gone for a few days, and you turn into this. This grumpy hermit. Go to the bathroom. Shave. Take a shower. She pushed me toward the bathroom. When I came out, scrubbed clean and clean-shaven, she nodded in approval. That's more like it. My turn, she said, sitting at her old vanity. I ran all the way from the subway, then banged on that door forever. I'm all sweaty. She unclasped her earrings, then stood up and began to unzip her dress. We were an old married couple. There were no secrets between us. Chloe undressing in front of me was the most natural thing in the world. Except, this wasn't the body I knew. It was Isabella Thorne's. When the dress fell to the floor, my eyebrows shot up. Definitely different. Childbirth had changed Chloe's body. It hadn't been this. Sculpted. She caught my dumbstruck expression and seemed to remember that to me, this body was brand new, and that it was having a definite effect. Then another thought occurred to her. This kind of feels like I'm cheating on myself, doesn't it? Her face hardened slightly. Well, is it nice to look at? I was a veteran of 1,000 similar marital minefields. I knew exactly what to say. I scoffed, making a dismissive face. Please, your old body was way better. Oomph. Correct answer, she said, a flicker of a smile on her lips. She gathered her pajamas and the discarded dress and disappeared into the bathroom. Lying in bed, I pinched my arm to make sure I wasn't dreaming. A wide, incredulous grin spread across my face. Chloe was back. With nothing else to do, I picked up my phone and started Googling her situation. Rebirth, soul, transmigration, consciousness swapping. It was all sci-fi and fantasy forum stuff. No one had a real answer. But I did find a few articles about documented cases of personality shifts after near-death experiences. Rare, unexplained phenomena that science couldn't yet explain. So, maybe this wasn't a one-off. While scrolling, I stumbled across a trending topic on Twitter related to Isabella Thorne. Breaking. Oscar winner Liam Preston in awkward solo appearance at Critics' Choice Awards. The article underneath read, socialite and film investor Isabella Thorne, known as the Park Avenue Princess, was a shocking no-show at tonight's awards ceremony, where she was expected to accompany her long-term partner, Liam Preston. Her absence, a first in their 3-year history as a red carpet fixture, sent ripples through the industry and left the atmosphere at their table palpably tense. Isabella Thorne, the Park Avenue Princess, the woman currently taking a shower in my bathroom. I checked the timestamp on the article. Tonight, I didn't have to guess. The person who ditched the movie star wasn't Isabella Thorne. It was my Chloe. Of course it was. The moment she woke up in that body, the first thing she would do is come home. She must have woken up right there at the awards show and just left him. When she came out of the bathroom, toweling her wet hair, I shoved the phone in her face. Honey, was this you? Chloe took the phone, read for a moment, and nodded. Yeah, that was me. I had just woken up. All I could think about was you and Sophie. So I came straight home. I smiled and took the phone back. I hear this body of yours is in a secret relationship with that actor, Liam Preston. I watched her face. You walking out on him at the award show like that. It's a massive public slap in the face. Chloe just shrugged. I don't care about some movie star. You're my husband. Sophie's my daughter. Everyone else can go to hell. But I frowned, thinking, it can't be that simple. You're in her body now. You can't just do whatever you want. You have to manage her life, her relationships. What are you saying? Her eyes narrowed. You want me to go back to that actor? Let him sleep with me? That was not what I meant. No, of course not. I'm just saying you're Isabella Thorne now, the Park Avenue Princess. You can't let people figure out you're not her. As for the actor, just make a public statement that you're not together. Tell him to stay away from you. Chloe was living in Isabella's body, but she was my wife. I didn't want anyone else even looking at her. Oh, okay, I get it. You mean I shouldn't have just walked out of the ceremony? But I missed you guys so much. I couldn't have stayed there another minute. I understood completely. If I were in her shoes, I'd have done the same thing. Forget it, I said, waving it away. You're the Park Avenue Princess now. I hear your family's loaded. Do whatever you want. A mischievous glint appeared in her eye. She winked at me. Hey, honey, Sophie's asleep. How about we play a game? Playing a game was our code. It meant a little pre-sleep exercise. That one phrase was all the proof I needed. This was my Chloe. Game on, I said, rubbing my hands together. It's been a 6-month dry spell, you know? You sure you can handle it? My words made her pause, a shadow crossing her face. I've been dead for 6 months? Wow, I thought it had only been a month or 2. The conversation was bizarre, but the intent was clear. Let's play in the living room, she said, nodding toward the door. Don't want to wake Sophie. She walked out and I followed. After 6 months, it should have been an epic reunion. But a few minutes after the battle began, Chloe cried out, her voice tight with discomfort. We stopped, confused. A moment of investigation, and then we were both floored. She's a socialite, the Park Avenue Princess, supposedly hooking up with a movie star. How is it possible she's... Never. I couldn't believe it. The rumors about her and the actor had to be fake. She was a virgin. Chloe slapped her forehead, looking utterly exasperated. No wonder. Oh, for crying out loud. I have to go through that again. A tiny, shameful part of me felt a little thrill of victory. Chloe was back. I thought our little family of 3 could finally go back to the way things were. But life is never that simple. The next morning, who are you? A voice cold as ice. And where am I? I couldn't think of her as Chloe anymore. When she woke up, the warmth in her eyes was gone, replaced by a chilling aloofness. I knew. Chloe was gone. And now, I had no idea how to explain to Isabella Thorne, the actual heiress, what had happened. Especially the part where we'd been intimate. The thought that she could accuse me of rape, that I could go to prison, flashed through my mind. What would happen to Sophie? Back to the system, I supposed. My poor Sophie. Mama, my daughter, bless her heart, chose that moment to toddle over to Isabella's side of the bed, grinning her biggest, silliest grin. Isabella stared at her. What did you call me? You called me. Mama. Her eyes widened. Don't tell me. I've time traveled. I almost laughed at her panicked self-assessment. Miss Thorne, I said, deciding the truth was the only option. I apologize in advance, but I need to tell you a very strange story. After I finished explaining the events of the previous night, Isabella was silent for a long time, processing. So, you're telling me, she said finally, her voice flat, that I didn't time travel. Your dead wife's soul possessed my body, came back to this apartment, and slept with you. I spread my hands helplessly. It sounds crazy, I know, but it's the truth. I didn't expect you to come back, but the grief was already hitting me. Sophie had lost her mother all over again, and I had lost my wife. Again. It is certainly bizarre, Isabella said, rubbing her temples. In truth, she believed me. Faint, fragmented memories were already swirling at the edges of her consciousness. A man and a woman crying, the warmth of a family of 3, and a vivid image of the man in front of her doing push-ups over her. She could even recall the feeling. I will have this investigated, she said, swinging her legs out of bed. She winced as a wave of discomfort hit her. Her jaw clenched, and her gaze, now sharp and severe, locked onto me, the perpetrator. What happened last night stays in this room. If a word of this gets out, I will make you and your daughter disappear. I didn't doubt for a second she could do it. She was from a world of power I couldn't even imagine. Understand, I said quietly. I picked up Sophie and left the bedroom to give her space to get dressed. After she left, the familiar quiet of the apartment settled in. I thought my life would go back to the way it was. But that night, my Chloe returned. Honey, I'm back. It was Isabella's body, draped in a ridiculously expensive-looking fur coat, dripping with jewelry. She stood in my doorway, flanked by several large men in black suits, waving at me. But her eyes were sparkling. It was my wife. I was completely lost. Were they taking shifts? One by day, one by night? You guys bring everything inside, Chloe instructed the bodyguards. In a flash, our small coffee table was buried under a mountain of shopping bags from every high-end brand imaginable. You can go. Pick me up in the morning. Yes, Miss Thorne. I'd never seen a row of bodyguards bow to someone before. It was like a scene from a movie. As soon as they were gone, Chloe began tearing open packages. Ethan, she said excitedly, I think I can share control of the body with her. She gets the day, I get the night. Yeah, I'd figure that part out. She was rough with you this morning, wasn't she? She asked. I sat down. How did you know? Do you two share memories? Chloe nodded. I woke up around 7 p.m. tonight, and these little bits and pieces of her day just flooded in. I saw how she spoke to you. You slept with me in her body. It's a miracle she didn't have me arrested. I said, feeling a strange need to defend Isabella. Don't you be afraid of her, Chloe said, her face hardening. If we're sharing, then she'd better play nice. If she gives you any trouble, I'll make her life a living hell. The last sentence was spoken with a strange, resonant force. And that wasn't for you, she added quickly, explaining that she was leaving a message for Isabella in their shared consciousness. She pulled a heavy, green-faced watch from a box and fastened it around my wrist. Try it on. It's a Patek. It cost over $500,000. The cool metal chilled my skin. I was about to ask where she got the money, but then I remembered. Chloe didn't have a dime. Isabella Thorne did. You use her money? Uh-huh. Chloe leaned in, her voice a conspiratorial whisper. You have no idea, Ethan. She's ridiculously rich. One of her checking accounts has over $200 million in it. The number was so vast it made my head spin. And Sophie, sweetie, these bracelets and necklaces are all for you. Chloe started draping my bewildered daughter in delicate gold and diamond jewelry. It didn't stop there. Designer clothes, expensive toys, and, on the table, the deeds to 2 downtown condos and the title for a brand new G-Wagon. I bought them all, Chloe said proudly. The payment's cleared. You just need to go sign the final paperwork tomorrow. I wrote a letter of intent stating it's a voluntary gift. I started to protest. Chloe, This is someone else's money. We can't. She cut me off, her voice thick with emotion. Don't you get it? What if? What if I don't come back tomorrow? Isn't it better that you and Sophie have something? Under the warm light of the lamp, I saw the glint of tears in her eyes, and my throat tightened. I finally understood. She was terrified she'd fade away, and she was desperately trying to secure our future. If I were in her shoes, I'd probably do the same thing. I'd probably try to drain the Park Avenue princess's entire fortune. She pressed a black credit card in my hand. There's 20 million on this one. For Sophie. For the best schools, the best tutors, everything. This time I didn't argue. I just took it. The next day, morning light streamed through the blinds. The woman beside me stirred, and her eyes opened. They were cold. Isabella was back. Did you, too, do it again last night? She asked, her voice laced with frost. She remembered. The fragments of Chloe's night had come to her. The lingering physical soreness was a testament to it. The image of me doing push-ups flashed in her mind again. Can't you two exercise some restraint? She snapped, sounding like she was on the verge of tears. Chloe's warning from the night before must have worked. Isabella seemed hesitant to threaten us directly, probably imagining Chloe hijacking her body to live stream something insane. I realized that as long as Chloe was in the picture, we were safe. A smirk touched my lips. Sorry, Ms. Thorne. We hadn't seen each other in 6 months. We sort of lost control. She fell silent, looking resigned to her fate. Also, I added a little sheepishly, my wife might have spent some of your money last night. Isabella just waved a dismissive hand. Spend it. I don't care. Just don't pull another disappearing act like you did at the award show. I guess Chloe was right. She was so rich she didn't even notice. A little while later, the bodyguards arrived to pick her up, but they weren't alone. With them was Liam Preston. The immaculately dressed actor strode into my living room and stopped short. He saw Isabella, lounging on my sofa, one hand propping up her head while the other playfully tickled Sophie, who was giggling at her feet. And then he saw me, emerging from the kitchen with a plate of pancakes. I'd been making breakfast and had asked Isabella to watch Sophie for a minute. Liam's face flushed with anger. He pointed a trembling finger at Isabella. Isabella, what is this? I had my pee. I run a check, but I didn't believe it. You're living in this man's apartment? Playing stepmommy to his kid. Isabella's brow furrowed. Her eyes narrowed. Liam, she said, her voice dangerously quiet. You may be Mrs. Davis's son, but that does not give you the right to question my choices. Remember your place. The Oscar winner deflated like a cheap balloon. I'm sorry, he stammered. I was worried about you. I spoke out of turn. So much for a movie star. In front of real money, he was nothing. Get out, she commanded, waving her hand. Liam opened his mouth to say something else, but the bodyguards were already on him, escorting him firmly out the door. Mama, scary, Sophie whimpered, shrinking closer to Isabella. Without thinking, Isabella leaned down and scooped her up. Shush, Sophie, it's okay. You're safe, she murmured, her soothing motion a near-perfect echo of Chloe's. It was the first time Isabella had held her. It was a purely reflexive action. After Sophie had calmed down, she seemed to realize what she'd done, a flicker of confusion on her face, as if she was surprised to find herself so naturally playing the role of a mother. I stared at her. Chloe, I asked, my voice filled with hope. Is that you? I'm Isabella Thorne, she snapped, her face instantly reverting to its icy mask. But I'd seen it. For a second, she had been so much like Chloe. I shook my head and put the pancakes on the table. Isabella set Sophie down, rubbing her forehead with a look of weary frustration. Your wife and I sharing a body. Her memories are starting to affect me. I remembered they shared memories. A mortifying thought occurred to me. Well, my wife and I play our game at night. Do you remember that too? I do. Not, she shot back, her eyes flashing with something that looked a lot like fury. She looked less like someone who didn't remember and more like someone who had been deeply offended and was contemplating homicide. Good, that's good, I said quickly, deciding it was best to drop the subject. You should stay and eat something, I offered, mostly out of politeness since she'd helped with Sophie. A woman who ate at five-star restaurants probably wasn't interested in my pancakes. As expected, she tossed a "not hungry" I'm leaving over her shoulder and walked away. I followed her to the door. Just as she was about to leave, she turned back, a frown on her face. And tell your wife to stop wearing fur. It's tacky. She looks like some new money wannabe. It's embarrassing. I was speechless. That morning, I went to the addresses Chloe had left me and signed the paperwork, officially transferring 2 condos and a G-Wagon into my name. In the bright, sterile hall of the city records office, as the printer spat out the documents, sunlight glinted off the golden seal on the deeds, scattering light in a way that reminded me of the sparkle in Chloe's eyes. Meanwhile, in a quiet retreat in the Catskills, Isabella Thorne was walking up a stone path to a secluded sanctuary. She had 2 goals: to find peace and to find a way to exorcise the other soul from her body. After a quiet moment of meditation, she met with the center's renowned spiritual advisor, a man known only as Brother Elias. Her assistant cleared the room, leaving just the 2 of them. "Brother Elias," she began. He held up a hand. "There is no need to speak. I know, you know, she is the night, and you are the day," he said, his eyes closed. "It is only a lingering will. When its purpose is fulfilled, it will fade. She is the night, you are the day." Isabella considered this. It made sense. Chloe appeared at night, she in the day. This man was the real deal. A lingering will. It will fade when its purpose is fulfilled. It must be some unfinished business, she reasoned. "I understand," she said, bowing her head slightly. "Thank you for your guidance." "You are not without blame," the old man added, his eyes still closed. "This, too, is your fate." He said no more. On the drive back to the city, Isabella replayed his words. Why had he said she wasn't without blame? Not without blame. And this is my fate. What does that mean? She trusted the man's insight, but she couldn't understand that last part. Then a sudden, chilling thought struck her. Her eyes widened. Could it be that incident? That evening, the black car pulled in my neighborhood. "Ms. Thorne, your sunglasses," the assistant said, holding them out. But it was Chloe in the driver's seat of the body now. "It's dark out," she said impatiently. "Why would I wear these?" "But you instructed me this morning, ma'am. You said to remind you to wear them when you return to the neighborhood tonight." Chloe searched her borrowed memory. Right? There had been online gossip, page 6 articles about the Park Avenue princess shacking up with a mystery man. Isabella's team had quashed it, but she wanted her nighttime counterpart to be more discreet, to avoid paparazzi and another hit to her company stock price. Remembering my advice to respect the body she was in, Chloe sighed and put on the sunglasses. Before coming inside, she took a cake box from a bodyguard and ran to Sophie, a huge smile on her face. "Sophie, sweetie, let's make a birthday wish." I was confused. It wasn't Sophie's birthday. But as I was about to speak, the realization hit me like a punch to the gut. My eyes filled with tears. Chloe was celebrating our daughter's birthday early, because she was afraid she wouldn't be there for the real one. "Ethan," Chloe saw my tears and knew I understood. She came over, wiped my cheek, and handed me her phone. "Come on, cheer up. Take a video of me and Sophie." That night, we celebrated a birthday that wasn't a birthday, and we filled the phone with videos of a happy, laughing family. Later, Chloe and I stood alone on the balcony, looking out at the stars and the distant city lights. "I feel like I haven't seen the sun in forever," she said softly. "I can't take Sophie to the park or the zoo. I wish we could. She only existed at night. She couldn't feel the warmth of the sun." A sharp pain lanced through my chest. My Chloe had become a creature of the night. There was nothing I could do but hold her, stroking her back as she finally broke down, her body shaking with silent, racking sobs. "Ethan," she cried into my shoulder, "I'm so scared. I'm so scared I'll never see you and Sophie again." Only after losing something do you understand how precious it is to have it back. I was scared too, terrified of losing her all over again. The next morning, I woke up early and decided to wake Chloe for one last game. She responded, still half asleep. But right in the middle of it, her eyes suddenly fluttered closed. She went limp for a second, as if she'd fainted. Then, her eyes opened again, and they were ice cold. My blood froze. It was Isabella. She was back, and we were still entangled. I didn't stop. She froze for a moment, then closed her eyes again, a flicker of something unreadable on her face. We finished the game. TSK, a sharp sound came from beside me as I collapsed onto the bed, catching my breath. Playing your games all morning. Isabella's voice dripped with disdain. You didn't even notice Sophie wet the bed. She got up, went to the toddler bed, and lifted Sophie out, laying her on our bed and expertly cleaning her up with a baby wipe. The voice was Isabella's, but the practiced, gentle motions were all Chloe. Chloe, I whispered, a desperate hope rising in my chest. It wasn't. Isabella froze at my question, as if just realizing what she was doing. She looked down at the wipe in her hand, as if it were a venomous snake. Damn it, she thought, it's the memories again. Her, the Park Avenue princess, instinctively cleaning up a child. I must have done something terrible in a past life to deserve you too, she muttered. She threw down the wipe, grabbed her clothes, and stormed out of the bedroom. My heart sank with disappointment, but there was also a sliver of dark satisfaction. I'm a man, not a saint. I had, in a way, just conquered the untouchable queen. When I had Sophie changed and cleaned up, we went out to the living room to find Isabella still there, fully dressed. You haven't left. Get ready, she said, not looking at me. We're going out. To my utter shock, Isabella Thorne took me and Sophie to the amusement park. We walked through the crowds like a real family. Sophie in the middle, holding both our hands. We took pictures. We went on the carousel and the teacups. Looking at a photo of the three of us, bathed in sunlight, a strange thought hit me. Was I cheating on my wife by bringing our daughter to an amusement park with another woman? Isabella stared at the same photo on her phone, her eyes growing red. A single tear traced a path down her cheek. Thank you, she whispered, so quietly I almost didn't hear it. And in that moment I understood. Chloe was here. I stared into Isabella's tear-filled eyes. Chloe. Yes, she breathed, her gaze full of a profound, heartbreaking love. Ethan, I have to go now. A sense of dread washed over me. I reached for her outstretched hand. The moment our fingers brushed, Isabella's eyes closed, and she crumpled into my arms. Chloe! I screamed, a raw, ragged sound of pure agony. She opened her eyes a moment later. The coal mask was back, but as she looked at me and Sophie, there was something new in her gaze, something softer. She's gone, Isabella said quietly. I'm sorry for your loss. But I couldn't stop crying. I knew this time, Chloe wasn't coming back. She had left me and Sophie for good. Seeing my grief, Isabella clutched her chest, a look of pain on her face. It was the memories. Chloe was gone, but she had left every memory behind, and they had merged with Isabella's own, creating an echo of my pain inside her. Overwhelmed, she turned and walked away. A month passed. I was on a Zoom call, leading a meeting for my now thriving consulting business, outlining future project for my team. We'd cleared $1 million in revenue last month. I was a shark out of water from my big tech days, and I was building my own little empire. Mrs. Gable, the nanny I'd hired, was in the kitchen, and Sophie was watching TV. As I'd suspected, Chloe was truly gone. Since that day at the amusement park, Isabella had never come back. Those 3 short nights with Chloe felt like a dream, a sliver of moonlight that had healed my shattered heart just enough to keep me going. Mama! Sophie's shout pulled me from my thoughts. She was pointing at the television. On the screen, on a business news channel, was Isabella Thorne. She was in a sharp power suit, fresh off signing a major international deal, a radiant star in a crowd of executives. But her eyes, they weren't just cold anymore. There was a warmth there now, a depth that hadn't existed before. And then I saw it, a slight, almost imperceptible curve to her stomach beneath the tailored blazer. A wild possibility shot through my mind. No way, I whispered, my eyes wide. Did we? Those 3 nights, Chloe and I had been lost in each other. We hadn't always been careful. The odds that Isabella was pregnant were high. Ding dong. The doorbell rang. Mrs. Gable went to get it. I turned, and my breath caught in my throat. The door swung open, and a woman in a familiar red dress walked in, a soft smile on her lips. It was Isabella Thorne, but it wasn't. Her eyes held the same warmth I'd seen on the TV, but up close, they also held a keen intelligence. I saw Isabella in them, but I saw Chloe too. They were one. 6 months ago, a night of torrential rain. Thump! The car jolted. Isabella Thorne gasped. She knew she'd hit someone. Stay here, Isabella. I'll handle it, Liam Preston said, getting out of the car. He made a few calls. The accident was taken care of. Later, she heard the person she hit had died. Give the family $5 million, she told her assistant. But Liam intercepted the assistant. He changed the plan. Is this right, Mr. Preston? The assistant asked, horrified. Liam's new plan was to claim the pedestrian had jaywalked against a red light, and therefore, they would pay nothing. In the blinding rain, no one could have seen the lights clearly. $5 million was nothing to Miss Thorne. It was conscience money. You know Isabella listens to my mother more than anyone, Liam had threatened. And you know I'm her boyfriend. You do what I say, or I'll have her fire you. The assistant, intimidated, called the legal department and followed Liam's instructions. To Liam, Isabella's money was as good as his. He wasn't about to let a cent of it go. Isabella had gone to the funeral, standing at a distance to pay her respects. She bowed her head toward the grave, but never got close enough to read the name carved on the headstone. Chloe Miller. The day after her rebirth, on the drive back from the spiritual retreat, Isabella pieced it together. Brother Elias's words, "You are not without blame," combined with the shared memory of Chloe's final moments. She realized with dawning horror that she was the one who had hit Chloe. So that's why you attach yourself to me, she thought, a wave of guilt washing over her. Chloe, I'm so sorry. I'm the one who killed you. Using their combined memories, Isabella uncovered Liam's scheme to deny the settlement. Digging deeper, she found he had spent years planting his own people throughout her company, even installing his own mother as her trusted housekeeper to act as a spy. The house was cleaned first. Mrs. Davis, his mother, was sent to a very comfortable retirement in a city very far away. Then, Isabella publicly terminated all contracts with Liam Preston and systematically leaked his past scandals to the press. The golden boy of Hollywood became a pariah overnight. And then, she fulfilled Chloe's last wish. She took Sophie to the amusement park to feel the sun on her face and took a picture of their new, strange family of 3. With that, Chloe's lingering will found peace. Her fierce need to fight for control of the body dissolved, and her consciousness gently merged with Isabella's, becoming a part of her forever. From that day on, Isabella was in sole command of her body, but she was no longer just Isabella Thorne. She was also Chloe Miller. The following month was a whirlwind. Her company was in shambles from Liam's infiltration. She worked tirelessly, purging the disloyal, salvaging deals, and flying across the world to secure new partnerships. After a month, the company was stable again, and by then, her stomach had a gentle, definite swell. There was no question whose child it was. She rested a hand on her belly, a soft, sweet smile gracing her lips. "Hello, little one," she whispered. "How about we go find your daddy and your sister?"